Welcome back, once again adventurers, to Let's Play Robotics Notes Elite. In the last episode, Akio Sanomiya was at the lowest point of her life. The dream that she has been trying so hard to achieve, the dream of finally reaching the point that her older sister Misaki once did, and being acknowledged for doing so, has been irrevocably shattered. And even more, she's now finally, after 7 years, turned her back on that dream. Meanwhile, Kaito conversed with Sawada to try and understand just what the hell was going on in Odaiba, in Tokyo, Tanegashima, and the world. To which Sawada gave him a few answers, lengthy and cryptic though they kind of were, or convoluted I should say, rather than cryptic, at least for Kaito's, from Kaito's perspective. Namely, what happened aboard the MF Anemone was in fact an experiment being conducted by the Committee of 300, using devices that were planted all around the city during the current chaos, utilizing the augmented reality technology found in the likes of IUO on the Pokecom apps and so on and so forth. But if the level of precision of the Committee of 300's propaganda and manipulation is true, as Sawada claims, then we reach a very dark point when it comes to the Kimijima reports. Now, it is entirely possible that they are in fact the genuine warnings that they seem to be, if taken at face value. But since Sawada dropped the ultimate bombshell, which is the second solar storm predicted in the Kimijima reports, hasn't happened at this point, it casts a huge shadow of doubt and suspicion on the reports themselves. In fact, it could even be possible that the first solar storm that hit is also a result of the AR technology utilized by the committee, in which case we've been on a wild goose chase since the beginning. Now I don't know whether or not Kaito will actually come to these thoughts eventually, but I'm sure it won't escape his notice for long. But meanwhile, elsewhere, Sabaru's father, Hiromu, is fishing on the East China Sea. The wind is more humid than usual. Oh, humid, not humid. The sky is overcast with dark clouds. Looks like it's going to rain. Expecting that, I click my tongue. If it was going to rain, I shouldn't have come out on the boat in the first place, and yet you did. I don't normally go out to sea at this hour. I go fishing well before sunrise, and I'm back in the harbour before noon. That's why I'm always at home in the afternoon or out drinking with friends. That's been the rhythm of my life ever since I became a fisherman 20 years ago. I didn't often break that rhythm to go out to sea in the middle of the afternoon. I chose this time in particular to be out here because no matter what I do, I always get emotional when I'm home with my son. I plan to go home after aimlessly fishing off the coast for about 2 hours. I've been doing this about 3 times a week lately. month ago, my son had an accident while working on a giant robot. He's still getting treatment for his legs. But hopefully, with time, he should recover. He's undergoing rehab at the hospital. They still don't know if he'll ever walk normally again without crutches. I forbade him not once, but twice from working on robots. When I heard he still hadn't learned his lesson, I considered disowning him. Is that saying right? 3 strikes and you're out. He was injured as a consequence of his own actions. He has no respect for his father. I wouldn't be so sure about that, Hiromu. He went sneaking around my back not once, but twice. I trusted him and tried my best not to step on his toes after forbidding him from such things last summer. But he came back and made me look like a damn fool. In the end, not only was he badly injured, he even caused trouble for others. Not only that, but one wrong move and he could have died. I'm his father. It makes sense that I wouldn't just let him do as he pleases. You're going to have to at some point, Hiromu. That's just how it works. Almost unconsciously, I mutter to myself. I'm surprised by my own words. Why robots of all things? Am I lamenting my son's interests? Or am I questioning myself about why I'm so prejudiced against robots?
まったく。なんでロボットなんだろうな。
You want to blame it on something, blame it on the culture of the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Maybe I'm just stubborn. I never cared about robots to begin with. But when my son got into them and refused to listen to me anymore, I couldn't let it stand. The hanging fish line hasn't moved for nearly an hour. Unlike when I usually go fishing, I haven't managed to catch anything decent. I never had much interest in angling, so you could say I'm unaccustomed to it. But I don't care about catching anything, quite frankly. Lately, my son does nothing but go back and forth between his room and the hospital. He remains quiet during meals. He keeps his emotions below the surface. Same old Sawada. Even if I raise my voice at him, he just sits there completely still, quietly hanging his head. It's as though he's lost all passion for living, and he's just going through the motions. I never thought he'd be so stubborn over giving up his interest in robots.
俺のやり方は間違っていたのかな。
It wasn't your fault, so to speak. I do my best to convince myself otherwise than dispel the thought. When I sigh, a cold droplet of water collides with my cheek. It's starting to rain. Time to head back. I pull up my fishing line and get ready to withdraw. It's then that I happen to see something in the corner of my eye. Something's flying the air. Is it a bird? Is it a plane that's far off the coast? I raise my head, puzzled, only to doubt my own eyes. They're robots. Yes and no. They're not just any robots. They're HUG suits, like Sumeragi. But unlike Sumeragi, these are more bipedal. And unlike Sumeragi, these have been mass-produced. Yeah, there are well over 20 of them, and even more in the distance. Yeah, to say that we have a problem, to say that a storm is coming, yeah, we're past that point. The storm has arrived. Countless black humanoid robots cover the sky.
なんだありゃ。
Where did they come from? There wasn't a single trace of them a moment ago. All I can do is gulp as I gaze up at the bizarre sight. The end of the world. The thought runs across my mind. Armageddon, the apocalypse, call it what you will. Bad times. Bad times, and they're about to get worse. Much worse.
プロジェクトアトムの最終目的は太陽に干渉して人為的に太陽嵐を起こすことだ。その方法は君島レポートに詳しく書いてある。当然君なら知っているだろう。
Indeed, it's all written down in there, but again.
太陽嵐が運んできた太陽の大気とプラズマは超高速のジェット噴流として地球の磁気圏と衝突する。それによって生じる可能性があるのが磁気再結合現象、磁気圏サブストームと呼ばれる現象だ。その地球磁気圏サブストームを人為的に起こす。
He's right. That's what's written in the reports. But still, your words about the committee's propaganda and the layers of propaganda still has me concerned.
それは太陽嵐の日ではない。極端な例えをするなら、地球が太陽フレアで直接炙られるようなものだと考えればいい。
In other words, that would very much correspond with the final moments of the gun barrel leaked episode.
だが、その具体的方法については、君島レポートでは意図的に避けられていた。
Yeah, that was the point that Kurigohan and Kamehameha Kurikame had pointed out.
君島ポーはその具体的方法を知らなかったんじゃないの？
The means to bring about this phenomenon.
いや。
Sawada lets out a small sigh. It's like he's tired of dealing with someone who doesn't understand his lecture. What does he expect from a rural high school student?
今から4ヶ月前、セルンからとあるものが何者かの手で盗み出された。
A certain item. And stolen from CERN, no less, another of the committee's subsidiaries.
セルン。
ヨーロッパ原子核共同研究機関、スイスとフランスの国境にある世界最先端の素粒子物理学研究施設だが、
I'm well aware of its existence, Sawada, more than you realize.
盗まれたのは極秘裏に開発されていた兵器
What exactly was stolen?
BHB ブラックホール爆弾の可能性がある。
A bomb that can literally cause a black hole or a singularity. Holy. That sounds incredibly dangerous from the name alone.
そのセルンって爆弾を作るような施設なの？
違う。だが設立当初からきな臭い噂はあった。300人委員会が裏で直接運営しているという情報は私の仲間がもたらしてくれたものだ。かつてはタイムマシンも作ろうとしていたらしい。
They tried, and they even managed to manipulate the world lines there, Sawada. A time machine. Oh, it's more likely than you realize. Come on, this isn't some novel.
で、その BHB だが、一度爆発すれば、その場にミニブラックホールが形成され、周囲のあらゆるものを塵と残さず吸い込んでしまうという。
Miniature black hole, like the ones rumored to be generated by CERN's very own Large Hadron Collider. The miniature black hole which, if harnessed, could very well be the keystone to time travel.
炸裂した瞬間のエネルギー量は核兵器の比ではない。
But the committee are no longer interested in some time travel anymore.
人の手に負える代物ではない。神の領域に踏み込むものだよ。
Oh, we've already crossed that, gone beyond that point, Sawada.
それを爆発させて虐殺しようっていうの？でもそれじゃ磁気圏サブストームは起きないような。
そうだ。地上で爆破させるだけなら、せいぜい関東地方が消滅するぐらいだろう。
せいぜいってあんた。
彼らが考えていることはもっとえぐい、そして効率的だ。
That's the committee of 300.
地上で使用するのではなく、宇宙で BHB を炸裂させようとしている。
I see. So they're going to use the BHB to emulate a solar storm coming into contact with the Earth's magnetosphere.
通称発火点と呼ばれる場所だ。それは地球と月のちょうど中間。地球からは距離にしておよそ13万キロの位置にある。太陽嵐と地球の磁気圏がぶつかる場所だ。そこで BHB が炸裂すれば、地球磁気圏にサブストームが起きるのはほぼ間違いない。それは地球全体を襲い、君島レポートにあった通り、50億人を殺すだろう。
I can't help but go.
地球にはモノポールが降り注ぐかもしれないな。君の家の近所にある公園のように。
Of course, Sawada would know about those. Of course he would. This guy, he even knew about that?
その無数のモノポールは当然300人委員会によって管理され、人類は21世紀に新たな産業革命を迎える。それもプロジェクトアトムのシナリオに組み込まれている。今のこの混乱は全て BHB を宇宙へ持っていくためのいわば目くらましでしかない。
BHB を宇宙へ持っていくって。
Wait, how heavy would a BHB even be? If it can cause a huge and absurd disaster that affects the entire planet, something that powerful would have to be huge, right? I doubt it'd be something you can carry in a rucksack. And with our current level of technology, we only have one way of sending stuff into space. A rocket. That's why the rocket is black. And Kenichiro has no idea. Yeah, no wonder it was all kept secretive. Just, even though it was odd that there was that there was a lack of media presence surrounding the rocket launch. Yeah, the rocket is a literal bomb that is going to set off the black hole that will cause all this. Which basically means that with that information now, I guess we have no choice but to once again trust in the Kimijima reports and Ko Kimijima himself. But I'm really being thrown for a loop here because it is still entirely possible that the Kimijima reports themselves could either be the weapons of propaganda or the weapons against propaganda. And it's really in the hands of fate as to which it will be right now, because I don't know. The puzzle pieces in my head start falling into place, taking the shape of a black rocket.
まさか TNSC で今組み立て中のあのロケットを奪って。
察しがいいな。瀬宮に裏切られるまで私も確信が持てなかったが、今ならはっきり言える。
Are you sure about that? The Misaki Tsunomiya that we witnessed is also a byproduct of the AR technology.
彼らは BHB を種子島から打ち上げるつもりだ。
But then again, she could be working with or even for the committee at this point after all. The only way to know was to get the answer from her lips personally. A feat easier said than done. Although speaking of which... So it has come to this, eh? By the time I entered the chief's office, the outcome has already been decided.
Misaki, お前。
Site chief of the Tanegashima Space Center, Kenichiro Tsunomiya, sees my face and his eyes widen. Four of my comrades have guns pushed up against him. He's standing frozen still in front of his table. I'm sure that his heart is in pieces right now, the same as Akiyo's is. On top of said table is a single teacup and some pastries. I look at them and can't help but laugh at myself.
父さん、悪いけどあなたを拘束させてもらうわ。
this would be our first exchange in so many years. I certainly didn't expect this when I left the island 7 years ago. Even if this was inevitable. As far as missions go, the assault on the Tanegashima Space Center was an easy one. It's not a military facility, so the security in place might as well be decoration. But of course, they stood no chance against Kaminagi with myself on board. Sumeragi and now Kaminagi. Oh boy. All the 12 armed soldiers equipped with black military HUGs that came with me. We made a fairly showy and imposing landing on the coast, and within 10 minutes of issuing our warning, everyone had fled. Should any futile resistance present itself, we'd be forced to go around and kill everyone one by one. This really is something straight out of Gundam, isn't it? A former idealistic robot hero turning very much into the antagonist. How very Shah Aznable of you, Misaki Sonomiya, or should I say, how very Zex Merkees of you. Ironic, considering that you were the one that chose the Gundam model and Akio chose the Zaku model. And yet, in this instance, your roles, it seems, have been reversed from the classical anime tropes. It's far more efficient for them to flee like they did. Their escape matters little. All means of communication between the island and mainland have been severed. No ships or aircraft will be leaving. Even if they leave by private boat and seek help from the JSDF in Okinawa, they won't be able to do anything. But while we let everyone escape, my father, the chief, will stay behind by himself.
みんなを逃がすために所長である自分だけが残ったというところかしら。立派だけどそういうのは犬死にというの。
どうしてお前が。
Seems that Dad has forgotten that there were guns being pointed at him. He tries to draw closer to me, a dumbfounded expression on his face. I'm so sorry, Kenichiro. I click my tongue and press my handgun against his head.
動くな。動けば殺すわ。
Of all the situations, Dad stops in his tracks.
説明してくれないか。どういうことなんだ。
The culmination of a plot that has gone on for far too long, Kenichiro.
知る必要はないわ。ロケット組み立ては終わっているのよね。
ああ、終わっているが。
あれを使わせてもらうわ。
Right now, launch sites all over the world are preparing rockets for launch. That's a total coincidence. Due to reports detailing the high chance of a solar storm hitting in 2019, rocket launches were delayed worldwide. Then in November of last year, the storm arrived as expected. After that, countries all over started making launch preparations, so the timing ended up lining up. Tanegashima is no exception. It was all planned right down to the smallest detail. The private company that requested this launch placed their order with JAXA right after the Earth was hit. Everything was proceeding perfectly according to plan. Simply put, we got to pick whichever launch site we wanted. The BHB is now in our hands. We brought it ashore with us and we can put the payload on board anytime. To get the cargo on board, we even brought on a man involved in rocket assembly work for NASA. He can finish the work in a little over a day. X hour for launch will likely be the day after tomorrow at noon. It's not a lot of
一体
time.
何が目的なんだ。
あのロケットはプロジェクトアトムの肝となる。今後発射を妨害しようとする者は容赦なく殺すわ。
ロケットをテロに使おうというのかね。
Well, this goes beyond mere terrorism, Kenichiro Sonomiya. Far beyond.
我が国の宇宙開発を血で塗りたくるつもりとは。
And more besides.
ミサキ、お前はいつからそんな子になってしまったんだ。
7 years, Kenichiro. That's how long. 7 whole years.
お前はこんなことをするような子じゃなかっただろう。
Were being the operative word here.
ロボットが好きでロケットの打ち上げを見るのが好きな優しい女の子だったじゃないか。なのに父さんが誇りに思っているこの場所であの射程から打ち上げるロケットをテロに使おうというのか。
How unexpectedly sentimental of you, Masaki Sonomiya.
そうよ。
Noticing how weakly he's trying to argue with me, I reply with cold words. I want him to shut up. He's fallen to his knees, crestfallen, his shoulders dropping low. And yet he's still trying to lecture me. But of course,
どうしてここなんだ。分かってるのかいミサキ。この島はお前の故郷なんだよ。
分かっているわ。でもここを選んだのは
it crossed the line.
私がたまたまあなたの娘だったから。ただそれだけよ。恨みも何もない。
It was the simplest option. Nothing more, nothing less. I've never been to launch sites in America or Russia. I am, however, intimately familiar with the TNSC, considering it was only a 15-minute drive from my old house by scooter. Yeah, I was wondering about that.
お前
Why
は
you picked here instead of elsewhere.
本当にミサキなのかい。
Unfortunately, she is the very same. She's not an AR illusion. She's not being brainwashed. She is the genuine article. I don't want to continue this conversation. I give my four comrades the signal and they proceed to restrain Dad.
父さん、悪いけどしばらく監禁させてもらうわ。安心して、殺しはしない。計画が成功したらすぐに釈放する。どうせ成功すれば50億人が死ぬ。その中に私や父さんだって含まれるかもしれないんだから。
ミサキ、 やめろ。やめてくれ。ロケットは平和利用をしなければならないものなんだ。それが JAXA の精神なんだ。子供の頃から私を見てきたお前ならわかるだろう。
Unfortunately, the cosmos isn't entirely a place of peace and harmony. If it were, I could never entertain something like the Committee of 300.
だから頼む。そんな恐ろしいことのためにロケットを使わないでくれ。ミサキ、聞いてくれ。頼む。
Dad continues to try to appeal to me, so I draw close to him.
騒がないで。見苦しいから。
I thrust my fist into Dad's stomach. Was he always such a small person? Has he thinned out over the last 7 years? I want to ask if he's eating properly, but that's personal business, so I let him not. As Dad groans in pain, my comrades drag him out of the room. Left alone in the chief's office, I take a look around. Dad's desk is a Fink toy. Several months before graduating high school, I made one for everyone in the family. I reach my fingers out towards it. At the moment I'm about to touch it, my Pokemon begins to ring. I left video chat on for the mission. Open my Pokemon and unmute it. There's no image, it's voice only.
こちらプリースト1。
Wyvern 1, that would be Misaki, given the fact that that's her code name. Then we've got Priests 1 to 4, Wizard 1 to 4, 1 to 5, and Trebor 1 to 3, which is a total of 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 members.
ポイントベータに到達。これより制圧行動に入る。
13 people carrying out this operation.
了解。ポイントアルファは制圧完了。
I look out the window. Dark clouds stain the sky black. It looks like it's about to pour any second now.
雨は嫌い。
When it rains, rockets can't be launched after all. Looks like your timing isn't exactly that perfect after all. When it would start raining near a scheduled launch day, my usually calm dad would turn anxious and frustrated. I hated how it felt being around him when he was like that. If the launch got postponed, nobody in the family would be able to talk to him. So whenever a launch drew near, Aki and I would make little Tiru Bozo dolls together. Just say that nobody on Tanegashima could compete with our Tiru Bozo's crafting skills.
感傷的になってダメね。
And yet you already have by choosing this place of all places to stage this operation. I'm probably acting like this because even after 7 years, nothing here has changed.
あさっての天気予報は
I speak out to no one in particular. There's nobody in this room but me right now, so I thought.
あさって2月28日の屋久島種子島地方の天気は かるでしょう。
At you, Sister Centipede? Have you betrayed us as well? Or are you ambivalent to the whole thing? The same forecast as when I checked earlier. It's going to rain tomorrow, but the day after that will be sunny and clear.
降水確率は 10% です。
天気予報はもっと嫌い。
The center of my head starts throbbing in pain. I can't help but clutch my forehead as I grip my teeth.
今もそこに立っているのね、ゲジネ。
In the back of my mind, I have flashbacks of that day. It was a terribly hot and humid summer night. Masaki's hands are stained with blood. The night sky was bright, as if it were lit up by the sun itself. I was covered in sweat. Sister Centipede, not Irie, looked at me emotionlessly. Saying nothing, she stared at me. Everything was decided on that day 9 years ago. It was the day that I was possessed, the day that I was contaminated. By what? By whom?
今日の時点で世界の主要なロケット発射台が1週間以内の打ち上げを計画していることを知っているか？
Unfortunately, I don't think Kaito was Sawada. It's not just the TNSC. Perfect cover. Exactly why they're going ahead with it.
ケープカナベラル、バイコヌール、ギアナ、シュセン。
Or the other launch sites around the world. That's a lot of launch sites. A lot of launch sites. And we're going to learn about them. Oh yes, we're going to learn about them. Right here in the tips list. Cape Canaveral Air Force Station, an Air Force base located in Florida. It is used as a rocket launch site alongside the adjacent Kennedy Space Station. While the Kennedy Space Station is responsible for launching piloted space shuttles, the Cape Canaveral site is used to launch unmanned rockets. Baikonur Cosmodrome, a Russian spaceport located in Turatum, Kazakhstan. It was built during the Soviet Union, but after the collapse of the Soviet Union, Russia began leasing it from Kazakhstan, paying a fee for its use. It is the launch site where the world's first artificial satellite Sputnik 1 and the world's first manned spaceflight Vostok 1 were launched. Guyana Space Center, a rocket launch station located in French Guiana, South America, is operated by CNES, the National Center for Space Studies. Finally, Jukan Satellite Launch Center, a rocket launch station located on the outskirts of the city of Jiuquan on the Gansu province of China, was originally used as a test site for launching ballistic missiles. And those are only 4 sites of many.
そして日本種子島。宇宙開発の歴史上こんなことは初めてだ。これまで一度としてなかった。
Indeed.
仕組まれたものだっていうの。
From the start, Kaito.
いやそうじゃない。むしろこれは全くの偶然だ。去年の太陽嵐の到来に起因するな。
Well, yeah, everything but that part, which just fell into place of its own accord.
だがこの偶然に彼らは目をつけた。そもそもその5カ所で打ち上げられる予定のロケットには彼らの何らかの関与があると睨んでいたんだが。
You say we in this, aka the royal we. Which begs the question that is obviously going to be answered later as to who exactly you work for and represent.
どれだけ調査して
That
も
can follow.
その痕跡は全く出てこなかった。どのロケットもクリーンすぎた。
It wouldn't make sense for them to deliberately operate any of the launch sites as long as they were being investigated.
そこから推測した。彼らは5カ所のロケットのどれか一つを打ち上げ直前に奪い利用するつもりだと。
And unfortunately, for Tanegashima, that educated guess paid off.
5カ所のうちどれが本命なのかずっと絞り込めずにいたんだが、今日の瀬宮の行動ではっきりした。
If she was trying to deflect attention away from herself, she didn't actually do as good a job as she thought. What happened here at the Expo only has drawn more suspicion to her.
本命は種子島だ。おそらく今 BHB はあの島にある。
Yeah, the black rocket. A chill runs down my spine. A bomb powerful enough to wipe out the entire Kanto region is on this island, and powerful enough to wipe out more besides, once it hits its intended point in outer space. If that's true, if it were to explode on the surface due to any kind of slip-up, the entire island would be wiped from the face of the earth. Mother, Dad, and everyone I know is on that island. All of the former members of the Robotics Club are in danger. Frau, Juna, and Subaru.
JAXA の人たち、また打ち上げができるってあんなに喜んでたのに。
And yet they were all being played.
おそらく今頃種子島宇宙センターは敵の支柱だろう。
警察に連絡して。いや、警察じゃダメだ。自衛隊を出してもらって。
No, I think that's not going to be an option here, Kaito.
無駄だ。遅すぎたんだ。
遅すぎたってどういう。
今世界中で情報が遮断あるいは捏造されているんだ。この状況で種子島のロケット打ち上げを止めろと政府に訴えたところで自衛隊は動かない。在日米軍にしても同様だろう。この混乱だ。回線はつながらないだろうし、つながったとしても冗談だと受け取られる。事実、私も自衛隊の基地に直接かけてみたが全く相手にされなかった。
All the phone lines are locked down. It loading a black hole bomb onto a rocket in order to launch it into outer space. It wouldn't matter how you went about telling anyone, be it face to face in a call, in a letter or whatever. There's no way they would take it seriously. It would be impossible to get anyone to believe something that batshit crazy.
現政権の防衛大臣とは何度か会ったことがあるから直接電話してみたが全くつながらない。他に阻止する方法は直接乗り込むことだが。
Our last resort. To take on Misaki and her companions head on.
あの島はここからでは遠すぎる。羽田からチャーター機を飛ばすよう手配することはできるが連絡手段がない。
All planes are grounded. The train lines have all been stopped. The highway seems to be totally gridlocked. A ship would take too much time. There's no way to travel from Tokyo to Tanegashima in such a short period of time. Was this the Committee of 300's goal all along? In a manner of speaking, but it was also Misaki's devising as well.
ミサ姉が瀬宮美咲が首謀者なの。
Sawada glances at my face. He hasn't attempted to smile even once this entire time. And again, what is there to smile about in this situation?
間違いない。
The fact that he only sounded slightly apologetic only further irritates me.
ミサ姉についてあんたは何を知ってるんだ。なんでミサ姉がこんなことを。それにさっきのミサ姉はなんかおかしかった。あの雲みたいな大型ハグに乗ってたはずが忽然と姿を消したらしいし、あんたが撃った銃弾でもかすり傷一つ負わなかった。まるで俺が会ったミサ姉は幽霊みたいだ。
You've hit the nail right on the head there, Kaito.
なあ、あのミサ姉は本物だったの。
It's taking you long enough to get that point. You finally made it.
会場に現れた軌道エレベーターの幻影と同じだと私は考えている。
Yet Sumurage was operated remotely.
肉眼で見ることのできる AR アノテーションのようなものといえばイメージできるが、具体的なことは君島レポートにも書いてあっただろう。 VR 技術と呼ばれるものの応用だと推測している。おそらく君たちが聞いた瀬宮の言葉もあらかじめプログラムされていたものだろう。
That would explain the stilted conversations.
そしてスメラギに乗り込むように見せかけた。
But then, why even go that far? Why implicate herself in such a manner?
なんでそんな面倒な真似を。
それは私も疑問に思った部分だ。
Just to advertise that it was her all along?
スメラギという機体は生身で装着できるものではない。
What in the world is that supposed to mean?
あれはハグを装着した人間がさらにその上から装着するという仕様になっている。
Someone wearing an HUG.
神凪と呼ばれる特別なハグを身につけた者だけがスメラギを追加装着できるのだ。
Ah, so that's it. So Kaminagi and Sumeragi go hand in
神
hand.
凪は登場型ハグと分類している。全高は約5メートルになる。
5-meter tall HUG. What does he mean by pilot type? I can't even visualize what it would look like.
その神凪が乗れるよう、スメラギのコクピットは設計されている。
でもフィンガーなんちゃらシステムがあって指だけで操縦できるって。
Yeah, there is such a thing as public PR, Kaito.
操縦は FOS で行うが、あくまでスメラギはコンセプトモデルだ。神凪とワンセットで開発された。それが理由だ。汎用性は今のところない。神凪装着者でなければ認識はされず、起動もできない。
Right now, the only person wearing Kaminage is Misaki.
この会場でネットワークにつながっていたわけでもない。完全なスタンドアローンだったと認識している。
Stand alone. That would mean that it would not technically be connected to the Kagome. Well, then again, that was all just a ruse anyway, or an indication as it were. Stand alone. A term referring to a computer that is not connected to any other computer or network.
他に可能性があるとすれば、現場スタッフの中に瀬宮の仲間がいたということか。
Certainly possible. After all, it was being managed by Exoskeleton.
そいつがプログラムをいじって暴走するように仕向けた。いずれにせよ、瀬宮があれに乗ったと観客に見せつけたのは悪趣味なオナニーとしか思えない。まるで何も知らなかった私に対する牽制か挑発にも感じる。
All the time the two of you were together, I had assumed that you were the one in charge, given your station at Exoskeleton Company. But we were all fooled, and more fool me. How much has Akio suffered because of that one decision alone?
じゃあ本物のミサネはどこに？実はとっくの昔に死んじゃってて、ずっと AR アノテーションみたいな状態で生きてきたとか。
No, she's very much real, Kaito.
そんなことはないよね。
I consider the possibility that she only exists on the internet like Ivory, and I shudder. The Mizune that I've always looked up to. The Mizune Hirakio loves. I don't want to believe that this is possible. But it's true that I haven't seen her in person in 7 years. I have no evidence that she's still alive.
少なくとも私は3日前に社で瀬宮に会っている。その時の彼女は間違いなく本物だった。
なんでそんなのわかるんだよ。
ハグの新しいボディスーツを試着してもらった。それは社が用意したものだ。来た時には女性スタッフが同席して着せるのを手伝ったし、私もその後で話をした。
だったらその本物のミサネは今どこにいるんだよ。
Should be obvious where she is, Kaito. Sawada shakes his head lightly.
可能性が高いのは種子島か。
Mizane is on Tanegashima. That's way too ironic. Beyond irony. She hasn't been home in 7 years. Now she has returned to bring ruination to the world.
ミサネがプロジェクトアトムの首謀者なの。
No, Kaito. Misaki Tsunomiya is simply the instrument of Project Atum.
ミサネが300人委員会や旅ストック研究所とつながってるの。
おそらく瀬宮はコマだ。
コマ。
Yet another piece on the board. A device meant to be used and subsequently discarded, along with the other 5 billion. There's no way I could believe that. I've had enough of this bullshit, except it's not.
落ち着け。
I whisper to myself and take a deep breath. I want a space candy. They always help me focus.
気づいたよ。
何？
あんたの言ってることはただの陰謀論でしかない。妄想の一言で全部片付けられる。何の証拠もない。あんたの言ってることこそ捏造だ。俺を惑わそうとしてるんだ。洗脳とかプロパガンダとか、あんたが俺にこんな詳しく説明してるのは全部それでしょ。旅ストック研究所の指示だったりするんじゃない。君島レポートをばらまいた俺は連中にとって目の上の単行部だからさ。手たらめな話をして俺を錯乱させようとしてるんだ。そんな手には引っかからない。
I wouldn't believe in Misaki so easily, Kaito.
引っかかるもんかよ。あんたは300人委員会の側の人間だ。俺の敵だ。君島光や小郡南を殺したように俺も殺すつもり。ミサネをどうしたんだ。今すぐ居場所を教えなよ。
Despite my threatening attitude, Sawada remains unfazed. I don't think this was the way to go about it, Kaito. That composure of his pisses me off, so I grab him by the collar.
答えろよ。
I don't care if Sawada's leg is injured. I raise him up by the neck. Sawada's face contorted, slightly as if he's in pain, which he undoubtedly is.
確かに私の父ミゲール・サンタンブロッチオは旅ストック研究所の特別顧問だ。それだけではない。300人委員会の一人でもある。
やっぱり。
だがそれはあくまで父の話だ。むしろ私は300人委員会に反旗を翻すものだ。
デタラメを。
そう思われても仕方がないのかもしれん。
In other words, that connection was deliberately fed to us to make us suspect Sawada. Even I fell for it.
そうだな。私の背中には父が放った死角に殺されかけた時の50センチほどの傷跡があるが。
So basically he was disowned by Saint Ambrosio.
見るか。
やだね。つ んなもの何の証拠にもならない。
それなら仕方がないな。さっさと殺すといい。
なんだよ、どうせできないとか思ってるの。
If you do, Kaito, you'll only be saving Misaki for it.
バカにして、あんたを殺すことぐらい俺にだってできるさ。俺にだって。
Normally somebody who says that in such a fashion, it's usually the opposite. Sawada isn't resisting anymore. In fact, his face is already going pale. I snap to my senses and release him from my grip.
意地なしだな君は。
That's Kaito
く
for
そ。
you. I'm pathetic. I knew I didn't have it in me to kill someone.
君が私を疑いたくなるのもわかる。私は300人委員会に近すぎたゆえに彼らに嫌悪感を抱くようになった。彼らを野放しにしておくことなどできなかった。もっとも私程度の力では彼らを潰すなど夢のまた夢ではあるがね。それでもコツコツと続けていけばいつかは彼らを打倒することのできる大きな力へと育っていくかもしれない。こんな私に賛同し共に戦ってくれる者もそれなりにいる。
I wonder, are these allies those who have fought against the committee in the past?
全員が300人委員会による恐るべき陰謀に気づき、それによって殺されかけ抵抗するようになった者たちだ。
Which could, of course, include Minami, Kogori, and of course Kokimijima. In which case, I think, yeah, that pretty much seals the nail in that coffin. The Kimijima reports are the genuine article. A warning against the committee, not, yeah, not, the reverse. I was worried there for a second. I was genuinely worried, but,
君は聞いたことがあるかどうかわからないが、そのメンバーには疾風陣雷のナイトハルトやダルザスーパーハッカーなどがいる。
yes, indeed. Mr. Takumi Nishijo and Mr. Itaru Hashida, not that those names would be known to likes of Kaito Yashio, since he is kind of forgotten. Kurikame slipped at the time there, but I just reminded everyone. You're welcome. But yeah. There are indeed others fighting against the committee, and have been for the past decade. And I do not want to do that. I don't have a clue who those people are, and I don't care. You should, since they were introduced to you by the likes of both Sister Centipede and, of course, Frau and Juna.
あんたさっきミサ姉はコマだって言ったよね。じゃあ知ってるんでしょ。ミサ姉をコマとして使ってるのは誰なの。
But who could that be?
プロジェクトアテムの首謀者は何者なんだ。
ここまでの話を理解したなら、それが誰なのかはわかるはずだ。
Mastermind behind Project Atum.
もったいぶらなくていいからさ、とっとと教えてよ。
They could very well be somebody we already know.
一体そいつは誰なんだ。
Yeah, I've been thrown for a loop so many times now throughout this course of events over who to trust and who to not trust. Sawada is now trustworthy, I get that much. But if the name that is uttered from his lips is the name that I'm thinking of, or one of the names that I'm thinking of, then I might just have to eat some of the words that I've said previously after just saying them just moments ago.
わからないの
If I'm right, Sawada, not that Kaito was thinking about this consciously, but if I'm right, it is a plot twist out of left field that is worthy of the term conspiracy theory. Jesus. If I'm right about this upcoming revelation, god damn it. Yeah, it's gonna break this whole thing in two, and more.
いるを幸せ for you ヒドンハン種子瀬宮美咲姉の電磁波照射実験モノポー
Put all those tags and code words together, those keywords, and they correspond with only one thing and one person.
エグゾスケルトン社プロパガンダ2020年の太陽嵐到達というご情報300人委員会と旅ストック洗脳研究所
I really don't want to be right about this, god damn it. My brain takes leaps of logic sometimes, which Kaito should really take a page out of my book from time to time, but then again, he is still a high school teenager. God fucking damn it.
Huh?
It can't be, but it might be, but it is.
全ては君島レポートとつながる
Yeah. And suddenly, just like that, only one name surfaces in my mind. I had my doubts. After everything that Sawada was saying, I spoke my mind, I spoke my thoughts, and then I thought afterwards everything, and Sawada's true nature and fighting the committee with allies and whatnot, I thought, no, surely not. I must be imagining things. But I was right the first time. God fucking damn it. My hair stands on end. The one name of the one person we would never suspected the whole time.
まさか
Sawada weakly nods his head before continuing.
プロジェクトアトムを立案し今まさに実行している首謀者の名は君島光だ
Fuck my life. God damn it. I hate it when I'm right, and I hate it. I hate when I'm right in this moment. I hate it so much. Plot twist. The man who was supposedly murdered over 10 years ago.
生きている
Yeah. He never died. He's still alive. Welcome to Mindfuck City. Population Ko Kimijima. And meanwhile, we jump ship back to Tanegashima with Frau Kajiro and her Grand Hotel.
ぐぬぬ
Which is exactly where we're going to end this episode of Let's Play Robotics Notes Elite. And when we return, adventurers, we've been played. We've been fucking played. And I hate it. And it sucks. And it's terrible. And... oh my god. So, as always, adventurers, until next we meet.